And we're live. We're running late this morning again. Well, it's Father's Day, so there's that. I had to wait for everybody to call me and wish me happy Father's Day. And I didn't do a lot of advertising, so I don't expect many visitors this week. But we'll see what happens. I didn't bring the coffee down that I'm drinking this week. Morning, Sonia. Glad to see you made it. I know you were texting me. Like, are you going live? Yeah, I'm going live. I just, it's Father's Day. I had to wait for all my kids to call this morning and, do that whole spiel. So, Father's Day doesn't seem to be as big a deal as Mother's Day, but that's okay because mom's put in the work. So, hopefully we get some more visitors here this morning. I'm drinking, what am I drinking this morning? Peet, P-E-E-T. No, you didn't miss it. Nope, I'm late. I'm bad host. Bad host this morning. But we'll see how it goes. I guess I better pull this up over here too. Let's see what I'm doing. Videos. Here we are. Perfect. Here we are. Perfect. All right. Thanks, Sonia. I appreciate it. I got Pleiades with me today. Pleiades didn't eat this week. I usually have snakes that refuse meals. She didn't eat this week. We've been trying to switch everybody. I used to feed live, all live. And I decided to change that because I wanted to do what's best for my snakes and do the most humane thing I can for the rats and, the meals. So I went frozen thawed, and I'm not sure what, happy Sunday, Candy. Thanks for joining us. I'm not sure what her deal is, but she's eaten 3 or 4 frozen thawed meals. And just this last week, she decided to refuse it. I'm not sure what's wrong. Hey, can you bring me that new coffee I bought? It's in a brown bag. I forgot to bring it down to show everybody what we're drinking this week. Melody is in the middle of feeding the dragons and the tortoise and everything right now. So yeah, we're way behind this morning. But yeah, so this is Pleiades. And Pleiades is
my favorite.
She's one of the 7 sisters from the
star in the 7 sister star system.
Yep. She's a star in one of the 7 sister star systems. And was she our 7th female?
Our 7th snake.
So she was the 7th.
Selena is a star too.
No, I don't have any big plans actually. I'm still in my pajama pants this morning. Usually when I go live, I'm ready to go for the day. But this morning, not so much. I'm in my pajama pants and my surf shirt. I didn't even have a snake out when I first went live. I had to turn around and go get them. So, yeah. A little behind this morning. So, let's get to this part. All right, so this morning we're drinking Peet's Coffee. Now, I've never heard of this brand. I randomly found it, whole bean brand. Some dark roast, Major Dickinson's blend. Says flavorful, robust, and full body. Well, we're about to find out. Next week I'm going to do the Mackinac brand again. Unusual, yeah. Sunday's a relaxing day. I actually was up. I actually got up at 7:30, 6:30, something like that. I've been up for a little bit, but I've been on the phone with my kids and my mother and everybody calling to say Happy Father's Day and all that neat stuff. Let's just set this out of the way for now so I can drink this coffee. And just clean this up. So we're actually getting ready to move. Lisa's up on the house that we're in now. So we're getting ready to move. You gonna sit here for a minute? Okay. Let's see. Here, how about you hang out here? Can you hang out on my neck for just a minute, please? Yeah. All right, let me get my coffee going here, guys. So how's everybody doing this morning? So we got 4 people in, 3 likes. That's not bad for a new channel. It's not bad for a new channel. All right, let me get a sip of coffee and we'll go back to talking about snakes here. That is a good coffee. That's a really good coffee. Oh, there we go. Okay, now let's come back here to Pleiades. Pleiades is just almost a year old now. She's orange dream banana. As you see those, look at that orange in her. She's beautiful. Her purples stick out really, really beautifully. You know, bananas is one of everybody's favorite genes. One of my favorite genes too. We love yellow snakes. But one of the things I love about bananas is their freckles. You know, I see a lot of people always talk about how they're like a defect or something, but I don't think so, man. I think it makes them look even better. It makes them look more unique. Hi, baby. Makes them look more unique, and the more unique snake you have, the better, I think. Pete's. Yeah, I've never heard of Pete's. Never heard of it before. I was looking for something different. I didn't want to do a Great Lakes again this week. I didn't want to do a Starbucks whole bean. So I was just kind of looking for something different. And that's what I came across was Pete's. So I figured I'd give it a try. It didn't seem like a real cheap coffee. You know, if the price is too cheap, coffee's going to be crap. If it's too expensive, it's probably going to be crap too. So you got to find one right in the middle there to get a good bean. Of course, I do pour overs every week, and I use about probably half a pot, what you would do to make a cup of coffee. So I love coffee. She's so beautiful, and she is just the sweetest snake too. She's one of my sweetest snakes. Well, all my snakes are sweet, but she's just really curious, really bold. You know, I mean, she's not scared. So a lot of snakes are scared of the hair on my arms because I got hairy arms, and so when you see them, when I have the snakes crawling me and they find the hair on my arms, no matter how long I've known them, how long they've been crawling on me, if they find the hair on my arms, they pop their head back real quick. It's funny, but she doesn't. She just kind of. She's one of the ones that's always just kind of chilling and hanging out. She's down to hang out and be friends and see what's going on. Yeah. Of the grog we used to get. Oh yeah, we were talking about the grog last week. Yeah, and it's a great flavor. That carrot cake flavor that I was talking about last week is not it. It's like they took high-end grog and added more butter to it, more butter flavor, maybe some pecan flavor. I don't know, but it's horrible. It's horrible. I'm not gonna drink it. So just an update, guys. I'm working on this Minnesota episode, but the problem is I want to do so much with it that I don't know what direction I'm gonna go. It's a cool episode. I've got this whole scheme laid out, and I think it's gonna be too long. And I have this whole beauty scene where I'm just kind of showing off Minnesota, and that's kind of what I'm working on now. Is showing off Minnesota. So. Yeah, I just want it to be right. I don't. I'm probably my own worst critic. brand. Let's see here. Renault goes to brand. Oh, I wish I had a coffee steward. Sometimes I do. Well, tell him thanks for bringing the coffee. He's the superstar today. Right? So yeah, I've been working on this Minnesota episode, and then also the Pure Michigan. Like, so I just went on a couple pages, on some Michigan pages, and just asked them, hey, if you see some snakes in your yard, or you know a good spot where there's a lot of snakes, let me know, because I have a long list of native species in Michigan to get through, and I got a lot of responses. Ended up with some new subscribers to the channel. They probably don't know about our live stream or anything yet, but yeah, a lot of leads. A lot of leads on bull snakes, a lot of leads on fox snakes, water snakes, of course. You can kind of find them anywhere. Uh, but the rattlesnakes, so I got a hold of the Michigan Herpetologists League or Society or something like that. It's like 4 of them. And I'm supposed to get with them so we can maybe get together and go hunt down a rattlesnake and talk about them, the eastern rattlesnake. Um, I also talked to some biologists here in Michigan that I'm trying to link up with to, try to bring some education about conservation and our snake species here. Somebody had just called. I was happened to be with my friends who own a pet store, and somebody called from a trailer park around here. They found a bull snake, thought it was a rattlesnake, threw a bottle at its head. So it's this kind of behavior we want to try to prevent. People seeing a snake and freaking out and thinking, oh man, this thing must be poisonous. It's gonna attack me, and it's just trying to find a meal. It's just trying to find a warm place to be. And so, poor thing got a bottle thrown at its head. Apparently, the guy showed up and removed it. But this is why I want to do a Michigan episode, because not a lot of people from here know that there's even a rattlesnake that lives here. Like, they're awfully surprised. And then I want more people to be able to identify the native species, so that way those types of things don't happen. Bull snake's pretty harmless, and I'm guessing that's what they had, either that or a black rat snake, and it's pretty harmless. There's no need to treat them like that. It's hard enough keeping snake species alive here in Michigan, but if we educate people. Yeah, that's what a lot of people think, Sonya, is that it's too cold here. It's too, it's winter, but there's milk snakes everywhere, right? There's milk snakes, we have fox snakes, all the same stuff we could have found in Minnesota live here, because we're basically in the same, we say, geographic, weather, whatever. We're in the same weather. We have the same weather pattern as Minnesota, basically. So we find a lot of the same snakes here. We do have a couple different ones, but I don't know if Minnesota has blue racer or not. But those get pretty big too. But no, they hibernate. They burrow in, they steal burrows, they hibernate in the wintertime. And then summertime or the springtime, they come out. And that's a good time to find them, because they're coming out from being cold every morning, get real cold nights. So they come out and try to get in the sun. The foliage is still not overgrown, so you can still see everything real well. It's a good time to find them in springtime. But I use my springtime in Minnesota, so same latitude. Thank you. I'm not a weather guy. I'm a snake guy and a contractor. So, look at you, baby. She's so sweet. She's so sweet. You want to crawl around on the table for a minute? Check out the warm coffee cup. Here you go. Let me get a drink. So, yeah, that's kind of the purpose of the Pure Michigan episode, and the project is to bring more education, and to bring more, let people know about the conservation efforts that are going on here in Michigan with the Ed Lowe Foundation, the Herpetological Society, League of Biologists here. I got to talk to a lot of those people when I went up to Petoskey last week, and we made plans to try to get everything together for this project. They seem pretty interested, pretty happy that we'll be doing this project. Obviously, that's their main interest too, is to educate people about the native species of snake in the area. So I think that'll be good. Um, I love ball pythons, but I love snakes all the way around. So I want people to understand that snakes aren't, snakes only, if you're new to snakes, if you're just joining us this morning, this is Pleiades, orange dream banana. Very, very, very sweet girl. Um, but snakes only strike for two reasons, and that's in defense or to eat. So if a snake strikes at you, it's letting you know that you're scaring it, and you should back away, and you're stressing it out. So if a snake bites you, it's probably your fault. Or you just handled a rat or something that smells like food. But you can handle a hamburger. You can eat it. You can eat the greasiest hamburger you ever ate, and then handle your snake. What I mean, you don't like to grease all over your snake. But the point being is they're not going to strike you if you smell like human food. Smell like a rodent. They're not interested. And people don't understand that about snakes. All the stuff we've been told about snakes, in the media, Snakes on a Plane, Anaconda, which was a great movie, but it made a lot of people scared of snakes. And not all snakes are the same. And most snakes, like I said, only strike, and all snakes only strike in defense or if they're getting ready to eat. That's it. They want food or they're trying to defend themselves. That's it. That's it. They're not too scary or anything. Hey, I think your whatever you're doing is bleeding in on my live stream. There you go. Could you guys hear that in the background? I don't know. I don't know if you could hear it or not, but I could hear it. It was distracting. How do you spell her name? Archimedes. Yep. Yeah, Archimedes, just like the philosopher, one of the first scientists, as a matter of fact. This isn't Archimedes, though. How did we get to talking about Archimedes? Did I miss something here? Let me go on the live stream here. Let me go in the comment section. Did I miss something? Same latitude. Yeah, okay. What are we talking about? I have no idea. I'm just over here babbling. What are we talking about? I figured it was a Father's Day celebration. Did I miss something? I think I missed something, guys. I don't know. I'm not sure. But, so I figure if we get more people educated about snakes, they won't be so likely to run up on them and hurt them and harass them, kill them, even worse. So that's what we're hoping for. I had 2 refused meals this week, as a matter of fact, thinking about that. I had Pleiades here, refused her meal. I don't think she likes the frozen thaw. I did the little dance and everything. So I'm not sure. And then Herschel, which I haven't brought him on the show yet, but he's one of my favorites. He's my banana pied, and he's about a year and a half old. He's probably about, I don't know, 2.5, 3 foot. He's a big boy, great snake. He's lovely. So I'll bring him on eventually, but he refused a meal this week for the first time ever, ever. My snakes never refuse meals, any of them. But this frozen thaw thing here this last week or 2 has proved a little difficult. How do you spell? It's P-L, I gotta think about it. P-L-E-A-D-E-S, Pleiades, P-L-E-I. It's the name of a star. One of the 7 sisters. in Orion, I believe. So they call them the Seven Sisters, and she was our seventh ball python that we got. So that's why we named her Pleiades, and she's a female. She's one of the Seven Sisters. All of our snakes are named after philosophers or scientists. Well, not all of them. A couple of them. Mojo's not named after Mojo. Mojo's named because of his genes. He's a Mojave fire clown. So I figured Mojo. I basically got him for his genes, so I can breed him in the future. We don't have any breeding programs going on now, but in the future we want to breed him. And Mojave just kind of fell into place. But Herschel is named after William Herschel, who discovered UV light, X-rays, gamma rays, all the light our eyes aren't fit to see. That's who William Herschel is. And then Dewey's just named Dewey because I love DeWalt and she's black and yellow. So yes, Candy, I do. I feed in the enclosures. You shouldn't take your snake out of its environment, its enclosure to feed it. I don't. I know a lot of people, that's like an old, the old way we used to do things. You take them out, give them a separate feeding bin, and teaches them this. It doesn't. It just stresses them out. It stresses them out, and sometimes stress gives problems for feeding. So it's not really. You don't have to do that. After a short strike. So yeah, what tip? I'm interested. What tip did Bob give you? He didn't tell you African soft furs. Oh no, because you're feeding hog nose, so you wouldn't be feeding them the African soft furs. I know you didn't tell you African soft furs. Yeah, I always feed in the enclosure. It's it's less stressful for the snake. You don't have to do as much. And when you've got a lot of snakes, I've only got 16 ball pythons, and it takes me about 45 minutes to feed everybody, to get everybody. I put my frozen thaws in a Ziploc bag to ensure there's no leaks so I don't get water in them. I put them in hot water for about an hour. I let them float there, heat up the water a little bit, get them nice and thawed out. And then I take my heat gun to them with my temperature gun, and I heat the rat up to, its body would be about 100, 101. And then I have its head at about 105, between 105 and 110 before I take it to the enclosure. And then and the reason I give more heat on the head is because, sometimes you have to, it happens. Snakes have to get rehomed, and somebody might try to feed one of my snakes a live rat, and I want them to understand that they need to strike the head first. So that's why I put so much heat on the head, because I want them to learn that, when they're striking their meals, go for the head first. That, it's going to be less of a chance of injury for them if they ever have to eat live again in the future. Just little things like that I try to think about, but yeah, and I hit them with the heat gun, and I feed them right in their enclosure, and it's been great. My snakes never bite me. I've never had a problem with them thinking I'm food. I keep my hands clean. I don't handle the rats. Once I'm actually feeding my snakes, I don't actually handle the rats. I just use tongs, and I use a stack of paper plates. I buy paper plates, and I put all my rats on it. So it's like an hors d'oeuvre rat plate for snakes. But yeah, Mary Jane refused a meal, which she's never done before. She's never refused a meal. That was a couple weeks ago. She's been eating fine ever since. So, I was talking a little bit last week about handling your snakes, and Sonia, this might be a good bit of advice for you too. Is make sure when you're handling your snake that you give it its own autonomy. At least make it believe it's making its own decisions about where it's going, and that it's free to move about. That's important, I think. And I don't think I've heard a lot of people say that particularly. And most snake owners know, just let your snake do its thing. But new snake owners probably don't know. And I think I talked about it in last week's live stream, or maybe the week before that. But You know, I was in a pet store, girl was handling this ball python, she's flipping it back and forth, and it's balled up already, so it's already stressed out, it's already in defense mode, it's already trying to hide itself and protect itself. And she just flipping it around, and I'm just trying to, wait, stop doing that, stop, don't do that, like any snake lover would. Um, Sweet guy, sweet snake, sweet normal ball python. And by the time she was done handling him, he struck at her phone because, she had irritated him so much and he didn't understand what was going on. So I forgot where I was going with that. But hey, giving your snake, that's what it was, giving your snake autonomy. Let them, let them figure out what they want to do. Let them decide to come out of their ball. Let them make the decisions for themselves. That's important. You can take a cat, pick it up off the ground, put it in your lap, and pet on it till it stays, and make it stay with you. And a dog, don't do that. Don't try to do that with your snake. Let him be. Let him be a snake. Just let him crawl all over you, and just give him places to go if you want to control him. It's easy to walk them, and they still think they're actually doing something, which is crazy to me. Come here. What are you doing? Being weird. Being weird. I don't know if you guys, because this is one of the things I love about her. Can you guys see this on her head? Let's see if I can get this up here. She's got this orange flushing on her head. That is just beautiful. Makes for a great head stamp.
Muffins out.
Muffins out. So yeah, give your snake its own freedom. You need to let it, you need to make it think it's doing its own thing, making its own decisions. It's gonna be better for your snake in the end, anyways. Especially if you're trying to socialize it and get it used to, being handled. Most people are. Which I think, I thought about covering some socialization techniques, but I think Bob's got that pretty well covered. I might touch base on some of that stuff, but I don't think there's a big need for it on my channel just yet. We're new. We're just figuring this out. So, yeah. So where we at on the chat here? I understand the nervousness. But you see how I'm not really squishing my snake. I'm not holding it per se. You know what I mean? I'm kind of giving it its own. And yours probably are a little quicker at this point. But, you can keep up with them. I don't think you're going to hurt them. When you're handling them. And I know, okay, so real quick for anybody who's watching is Sonia just got her first pair of snakes. She got some beautiful carpet pythons. You got carpet pythons, right? And some coastals. And I was there when she held her first snake. So she loves them. She loves the animals. But, I can understand her nervousness. This is her first couple babies. So, but, see how I'm kind of handling Pleiades here? If I had my milk snake out, that'd probably be more your size. Blow dryer hint from Bob. Oh yeah, the blow dryer. Yeah, I use a heat gun. I'm not sure if that's what you're saying. I better look. Before I start talking, because I'll just make assumptions and closures. Got a tip from Bob. It was gone. In front of okay, take your meal and hold it in front of the warm steam from a blow dryer. Fill the enclosure with rat smell, and then give it a go. Yeah, no, that's exactly what I do, as a matter of fact. If I have one that's not keyed up, because usually when I bring the rats in the room, so my process is I take my frozen rats out, I put them in their own Ziploc bags to make sure I'm not getting any water in there. I put them in the hot water for probably an hour in a sink or a tub full of hot water for like an hour. And then I'll take them out and I'll separate them because I have snakes on my main floor and I have snakes in my basement as well, which is where my studio is at. And so I separate them on the plates, and then I have a heat gun and my temperature gun, and I'll heat up the rats and make sure that all their bodies are nice and warm before I move into the room. Like I said, I want the body temperature to be above 100 degrees because they're going to cool down a little bit before I get them to the snakes. So I make sure their body temperatures are well above 100 degrees. The head is um, house snakes. House snakes, that's what you have. I make sure the head is about 105, 110, and then I go on about feedings. But when I walk in the room with the plate of rats, my snakes are keyed up, and mostly because they know I'm pretty regular on feeding. I feed all of them at least once a week. Um, if one of them refuses a meal, it might be 6 days, 10 days or so. But so as soon as I walk in the room with the plate of rats to feed my snakes, most of them are keyed up. But if I see one that's not keyed up, I'll open its enclosure, give its rat, take the heat gun and kind of waft that smell into the enclosure, and that usually gets them right on it right away. And then I just feed each one individually, um, randomly. But I make sure the head is nice and warm. But yeah, I use the heat gun to warm up the body to make sure that I'm not feeding. And use your temperature gun because it can be devastating. Okay, if you're new to snakes, if you're new to snakes at all, if you're feeding live frozen, it could be detrimental if there's still frozen parts of that rat, right? It can freeze your snake. So, and you don't want that because it's going to cause a lot of harm potentially. I mean, I've never personally, I don't know anybody who's actually had a snake die from feeding it a frozen rat that was still too frozen, but I would imagine that's not going to be real good for them. So you want to make sure that the rat's body is fully thawed, make sure it's got a good temperature to it before you feed them to your snakes because, we don't want to do anything to harm our animals. So I take extra precaution. I always make sure their feet are squishy. Yeah, that's a good test. Make sure their feet are squishy. I just choose to use a temperature gun because I've went to feed rats before and had my snakes refuse them, and then I had to come back and realize there's a frozen chunk in them. This is when we first started doing frozen live or frozen thawed. Um, so I learned that lesson real quick. I wanted to make sure I got back and got those rats to the right temperature so these guys would consume them. Luckily, they recognized it was cold and didn't strike, so that's good. But yeah, I mean, I feed in the enclosures. I've never taken them out of the enclosures and put them in. Too much stress. Too much stress for them. We've never had any health issues here in the Den of Misfits. Luckily, we've been fortunate enough to all our snakes have been healthy. Try to follow all the rules to keep up on the newest information. Um, to ensure that my snakes stay nice and healthy because I love them. And they're awesome to me. They're good to me. So we got in the chat here. Okay, where we at? Go back and read my house snakes. Yes, house snakes. Little known fact about house snakes is they're actually the line between the python, right, and colubrids. They have a python head, so they have that stripe right across their face like that. They have python head, but they have tiny bodies, and they're super cool snakes. Super cool snakes, and I want them just for that evolutionary fact. I'm a big fan of evolution, and just having things. That's why I like oxalotls too, man. I think they're just so cool. Buy local or shows, but I finally found someone who would share a feed order with me. Yeah, so I buy my frozen thaws locally, um, and that's I've thought about using Lane Labs before, but I like to support local business, and my local pet store has been so great to me. They're so good friends, and it doesn't cost me. It probably cost me an extra $5 a month to feed my snakes through them rather than do an online order. They're pretty good about price, so I'll stick with them. You know, like I said, just to support my friends. Yeah, because you got hoggies. I don't have a hog nose yet. Hoping to get one at some point after the move. I got, we've all got our dream list of snakes, but hog island boa, something I really want. Like the purest line I could find out there. I'd like to get a hog island boa, and then a green tree python. That'd be really cool to own. I think that's gonna be a different experience all the way around. As they need rain bays and all that neat stuff, which I'd love to build. Other stuff, but the pinkies are expensive. Yeah, yeah. Some of the local pet stores are their pinkies and everything are expensive, but it's good to have them there. In case you're in a pinch, you can always just run down and get a frozen pinky or a frozen fuzzy. They're the local pet stores tend to be a little more expensive than like Lane Labs and stuff, but like I said, I'm going to pay the extra few dollars. It's just what I do. I actually met these people the day they opened up their pet store. I walked in. I was probably one of the first people to walk in their store. So, and we've created a great friendship since then. You'll see them on my show. I've got footage of them. I just haven't put those episodes out yet. Yeah, yeah. Most local pet store owners are really sweet people, really great people. Most of the time, it's the big box stores. They hire people. They don't properly train them. You know, and it's not necessarily the employee's fault. It's more the company's fault. When you go into a pet store and see snakes being mistreated or beardies being mistreated or not handled right, their enclosures, the husbandry's off. You know, but you can only do so much. You can only do so much to be helpful. I thought about bringing out the pack and play and putting a few snakes in that for the live stream a couple times, but let me show you guys my cup real quick. Let me show you this cup. So this is a little older. I think it's about 2 years old, but we used to live in Florida, and they have the Loggerhead Museum down there. So what they do is they catch sea turtles and rehabilitate them. It's a sea turtle hospital. They got a lot of really cool, like different displays and stuff down there too. But so eat everything you buy from there. Every time you go there, a certain amount of that money goes towards rehabilitation of sea turtles and their nests. And so we try to go there. I don't know. We went there 3 or 4 times over a couple of years that we lived there, just cause. I mean, it's a really neat place. They just rebuilt it. I don't know if anybody is in here from Florida, but am I getting a lot of? I don't see that Happy Father's Day text. The Loggerhead Museum is in West Palm, Florida, I think. It's gonna be West Palm or Stewart, the Treasure Island area. Um, it's great. If you ever get down there, I highly suggest that you go there and check that out because it's pretty awesome. They got a lot of neat reptile stuff down there. I mean, this is like the greatest place to live to herp in America, I think, because there's so many different species of snakes, lizards. We got rainbow lizards down there, lots of anoles, obviously, geckos. Uh, they have the invasive Burmese down there. A lot of cool stuff. Cottonmouths, copperheads, green tree snakes, rat snakes. I mean, they're just really cool. Really cool place to herp. When I went down there, my wife and I were married in 2001, and we went down there for, I don't know, 6 months. And her uncle, that's what he does. So he's got a couple fan boats, and he used to go out and collect snakes and turtles, and put them into the trade market through breeding, or I'm not sure what the process was for him. But when I was like 20 years old, I got to go down there, go on a fan boat, catch snakes with him, and turtles and all that neat stuff, and play with some baby alligators. So it was a really neat experience. But that he made a living doing that. I mean, that's how much stuff is down there. He made a living doing that for 25, 30 years, and made good money doing it. So let's talk about that for a minute. Another rescue. There's another rescue out in the Georgia or South Carolina barrier islands too that I would love to visit. Yeah, man. What is the name of it? My phone is buzzing? I don't know, my phone's buzzing. I can't hear my phone buzzing. I think I have everything on silent. It shouldn't be buzzing at all. So, yeah, what is that place down there? Did I miss a comment or something, Mel? I must have missed a comment because and albino. Oh, because of the ball pythons, right? We have an albino milk snake too. It's Galileo. Hey, do you know the name? Can't remember. I have to look it up. Okay. Well, if you find out, or I'll look it up too. We'll find out together. Because eventually, like I was telling Sonya, we'd love to get down south there into Georgia and go see Lacey over in Missouri. I'm just gonna keep calling her Azara. We're online. I'm just gonna keep referring to her as Azara. She told me when she was a kid. Let's leave that story. I'll let her tell that story. But it means something to her, so I'm gonna keep calling her Azara. Yeah, you do hear me out. We have lots of animals here. Snakes, cats, dogs, lizards, turtles, lots of stuff. Lots and lots of stuff. So, but if there's any dads on here, happy Father's Day. You should tell your significant other or your kids to go buy you a snake for Father's Day. Should be a snake owner if you don't have one. Even if you have one, you should tell them to go buy you one anyways. You need another. You need more. There's no, the kind of people that say things like, that's too many snakes. That's too many. You don't need that negativity in your life. You don't need that in your life. Go get more snakes. They're so awesome. Happy Father's Day, though, guys. Happy Father's Day, fellas. So, here's something: is a lot of people I see when they first get their ball pythons, they want to wrap them around their necks like Pleiades just here was, and I'm not sure what it is. I don't know if it's the texture of your skin on your neck, but it's like their shoes get stuck. That's what we say at our house. Is their shoes get stuck. So they'll be wrapped around your neck, and it'll feel like they're squeezing, but they're not really trying to kill you or anything. Their shoes are stuck on your skin, and you can feel them trying to inch around. And as they inch around, they get tighter and tighter. They're not strong enough to strangle you at all. But that's what we say. And then it happens on my wrists too. So if you're a new ball python owner and you feel like your snake is trying to choke you, it's probably not. Just put your finger between its body. Relax. So I can give them an example. You can relax. Put your finger right in between that little right there and just keep it there. And just give them a little nudge every now and then so they can move around. That's all. They're really sweet. They're really, really sweet. Let's see. Shoes are stuck. Yep, that's it. Shoes are stuck. I don't know who else is here. There's been people popping in and out. The live streams. Live streams are new, so not a lot of people know that I even do this. So it's just I kind of was hoping to rely on some questions and like my subs for. I don't ever know what to talk about. Right? I just come and show you some snakes, talk about what I do with my snakes. I drink some coffee, and turns out to be a pretty cool time most of the time. But I was sitting here. I'm thinking, what are we talking about? Oh, that's right. 7 now. Buzz, buzz. Why is my phone buzzing? I don't know. Let me see. See if I can fix that. Is it annoying? You guys mind? Like potato chips. I gotta go look. I gotta look at this. What are you guys talking about? I feel like I'm being left out of the conversation. And I'm just babbling. Let's see. Hear me out. Zara. Yeah, Zara's awesome, Sonya. Like, dude, if you watch her live streams, she, I love her character so much. We have a friend here named April. They remind me a lot of each other. They remind me a lot of each other, and that's really cool. It makes it like I know. It's like I know Lacey already. Like potato chips. Shoes are stuck. Kitty Snake's like eating potato chips. You can't have just one. Yeah. Yeah, you can't have just one. You need diversity. Biodiversity. Applying stuff you said 3 minutes ago. Oh. Well, what's going on with that? So how do we fix that? Is it not fast enough? See, look, she's gonna see if she'll do it. Yeah, she's kind of, see how she's kind of squeezing a little bit? She's having trouble getting around my neck. That's what I'm talking about. Her shoes get stuck. That's all. Where we at? 46 minutes. Okay. Red Sonya. How? So what are you replying to? No, we're slow. No, we're slow. Okay. So it's not my connection that's slow. It's not YouTube. It's my subscribers that are slow. Perfect. Perfect. Makes it easy to keep up. Man. Velcro. Yeah. I'm trying to read the chat. I'm trying to read the chat. See, look how much she would be off of my neck by now. She could pull herself with her head. She'd be off my neck. Okay, right. Yeah, hi mom. My mom is on I think, pretty sure she's been on every live stream so far. And I love her for it. She will not handle snakes. So you guys should comment, because she can't comment and argue back right now. You should tell her how much she should come over and do an episode with me about my mom holding snakes for the first time. How awesome would that be? And you get to meet my mom, and you get to watch her freak out and squiggle like a little girl. Yeah. Not because girls are scared of reptiles, because when you'll understand what I'm saying. Nothing sexist there. She literally gets to be, so we were sitting at my dining room table one day. I'm going to tell this story, Mom. We were sitting at my dining room table one day, and not realizing that my mom even had a fear of reptiles at all. We had our biggest bearded dragon sitting on the table, and he's just chilling, sitting there. My mom's just, no big deal, just sitting there. As soon as that dragon darted towards her, she about jumped out of her chair. No, 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 no. And that's when I realized, oh, I didn't know you were scared of these guys. I didn't understand. So you should tell her she should come on and come get over her fear of snakes and hold her son's snakes. Her son's not gonna anything happen to her, right? I'll make sure she's safe. You should just tell her. House snakes are amazing. Yeah, they're tiny scales. Their scales are different. Really, really soft. Yeah, I was holding that bow. I don't know if you guys seen that picture, but I'm always trying to hold snakes, within reason. And her scales too, man. I mean, boas. Their scales pretty much look like they're the same shape, but they're just so much more tiny. Mom, look at there. Just push it. Don't push it. Just watch and learn. It'll get better. Sam would never do anything to hurt his mom. Look, there's my son. Hey, Dad, happy Father's Day. Thanks, Caleb. I love you, man. Can't wait till you come back home. You can't live at grandma's. I think your mom's watching too, or intermittently. Yeah, I would never do anything to put my mom in a bad position. You know, it's just it's you know it's part of that it's part of that misconception about what snakes are about. That's all. Especially with people. Um, I don't want to say old people, but I'm going to say old people who are not haven't been privy to the internet for most of their lives. Right? It's been about half of mine. We've had smartphones, so not a lot of information has gotten to people about snakes, and it's hard. It was hard to learn things before we had the internet. So, I know a lot of older people have these misconceptions about snakes, and there's nothing to be scared of. They're like puppies. They're like puppies. She'll hold one day, I'm sure. My goal is to get her to hold Mary Jane. That's what I want her to hold. Is Mary Jane, because Mary Jane is she's probably my biggest snake at the moment. Herschel's running right up behind her. But she's just, I mean, you guys seen her before. She's so sweet. Yeah. Right? Look at her sweet face. They're all sweet like that. Miss Dorothy is staring at me out of her hide right now. I'm getting ready to build her bioactive, and I'm going to film that too on how I build my bioactives. I know I was supposed to do it last week, but I didn't get around to it. So she's fine though, and she's shedding. She's shedding again, so that's good. But I'm gonna do. I'm gonna film the build of her tank so I can show everybody how I build my bioactives, and maybe you'll see what I'm doing, because mine tend to work really well. Um, when I all of my tanks are bioactive. Every enclosure I have is bioactive. So I've got isopods and springtails, and then we've even got some beetles in there. I've got some jumping spiders that we find around the house. Carl Brutanowski, he's still up there between like three different enclosures. He just comes and goes as he pleases, hangs out in the window. But I just think it's really cool. So I think bioactives are really neat, especially for like ball pythons who aren't really active and they spend a lot of time in their hides and hiding from you. They're more nocturnal than anything. So a lot of times they're out moving around when you're sleeping. But what having a bioactive does is it keeps you engaged with your animal, because you have to constantly, upkeep your enclosure. You have to clean out urate. Your isopods are not going to eat the urate. You have to clean out urate. You have to spot clean poop. They're not going to clean everything up. You have to water your plants and make sure the soil is good, and it just keeps you more messing with the enclosure and around your snake more, which eventually is going to lead to your snake being more comfortable with you, because it's used to you seeing you coming in, doing things in its enclosure, and then not even messing with it, and that's a neutral experience for your snake. And you want the most of those, especially when you have a new ball python. You want to give it a lot of neutral experiences with you. You don't always want to, every time you go in its enclosure, you don't want to just grab it up out of its hide. Sometimes go in there and just do maintenance and then move away from it. Don't touch it. Don't mess with it. So that way it sees every time you come in there, you're not just coming in to snatch it up, and it doesn't run and hide from you every time. And eventually it gets curious, and it's going to get, the tongue flicks are going to get longer. It's going to figure out that you're harmless. Um, and, eventually you end up with a snake that crawls right on under your hand. So I think having bioactives is important for me, because like I said, it keeps you involved, it keeps you interested, especially with new snake owners. Bioactives are a little more difficult to run, I think, maybe, unless you're used to growing plants. If you know how to grow plants, running bioactives is real easy, because that's basically all you have to do. Keep it clean for your snake, make sure you got all the good molds and everything in there, which I'll include what I use when I do build her bioactive enclosure. I'll include what I use, what we add to the soil, what we add to the plants, and all that neat stuff. So you create a nice, organic, healthy environment for your snake. But yeah, having those bioactives, I think, has enriched my relationship with my snakes. You know, they understand that I'm not there to harm them. That I think they understand that I'm there to take care of them. And then I'm allowed to come into the big monkey's allowed to come into their enclosure and mess with their plants and move stuff around with my big fumbly fingers. And then they'll usually, if I move stuff, they'll come out and investigate, which is always funny. If I put some, I try to put new stuff in there every now and then, take an item out, put a new item in every few weeks or so, just to keep them thinking, changing those neural pathways. You know, that's important because snakes are born with two basic instincts: eat and defend. And I want them to have more neural pathways developed by from me messing with them. From me being involved in their care, and I give them new experiences so we can make some new neural pathways, and they can understand that things can change in their environment, and it's not going to kill them. It's not out to harm them. Not everything requires a defense mode, that type of stuff. So yeah, that'll be coming up. That'll be coming up. It'll probably be an easier one to put together than this stupid Minnesota episode. Been having so much trouble with this, guys. I don't know what to do. I have like this whole scene. I have a lot of footage of the water snakes we caught, the eastern milk snake I caught, the garter snakes. I got a lot of footage of catching stuff, but I didn't want to make it just about that because it wasn't just about that. There was a lot of people there. We had a great time. And I want to kind of highlight that too, and the beauty of Minnesota as well, and its biodiversity. So I'm trying to put all that together. I want it to be a special episode. So I do have a couple episodes that I'm working on too on the side that I'm going to put out. So that should be coming up here in the next week or so. So make sure you stay tuned for that. I think we're about at an hour though. So let's go. Let's look at the feed before I get out. I haven't looked at the feed in a minute. Let me see. Now I'm a 7-year-old mama, 2 scale babies. Sam Sweet too. You're supposed to say that. You're my wife. Tip for finding it. I cannot find my snake's poop. What do you mean you can't find it? Look in the hides. Look under the hides. You have small snakes though. And I don't know if you run bioactives or not. Yeah, the water snake's really cute. I don't know if you have bioactive or not, but urate sticks out pretty well in most substrates. I mean, it's going to be white, that's I don't know if you run a bioactive, you really want to get the urate out. I try to leave their feces in for a little bit so my isopods have something to feed on. But after I see the isopods aren't messing with that pile anymore, I'll take it out and throw it away. Because like I said, you still have to spot clean when you're running bioactives. You have to. It's important. It's important for your snake and the health of your snake. So I'm not sure how to tell you. Look under the hides. Kind of move your substrate around. Sometimes, I don't know if you have a brown substrate or what. Okay. I don't know if you have a brown substrate or what, but it can be a little difficult to find them. But I just keep searching around, I guess. I don't have any good. Look in the hides. Look under stuff. I don't know what your tanks look like, but look under your hides. Look under your corks. Look under stuff. Look around in the corners. Where your snakes spend a lot of time at, because sometimes they'll just poop and just kind of sit there. Some of my snakes, if they poop in a hide, they go to the other side. So I already know I have to go look in that hide because either I have a shed or there's some feces in there they want me to clean up. So that's their way of telling me, hey, I pooped. Go take care of that. They tend to poop on the greenery or under the aspen. Oh, you have aspen. Okay, because you have hognose. You have hoggies. Hey, Brianna. Nice to see you. Awesome. Thank you for the happy Father's Day. I really appreciate it. We're talking about poop right now and how to find it. Candy's having a little problem finding poop. And so you have aspen. It seems they tend to poop on the greenery or under the aspen. Oh, well, there you go. Seems like you're finding it if you know where they're pooping. Maybe they just don't poop as often as you expect. You know, snakes don't have like, my snakes aren't regular, right? It's not like a human or a cat or a dog or anything where they have to go every day, once a day or so. No, it's just kind of they poop when they process, you know, or if you have them out walking. I'll just keep digging. That's probably your best. It's probably your best bet. Just look around, you know. But if you're changing your aspen out and you're not having any mold problems, it seems like you're probably doing a pretty good job of keeping it cleaned up already. So you know, maybe you just I don't know. Maybe you expecting to find more than what you're finding. I'm not sure. Guess it's not. Guess it's not what I don't know what we're Alistair. I'm on. I don't know. I'm sorry, I didn't see your previous. I'm looking. Dad beat me. Oh yes, it's a morph. Yes, yes. This is she's a orange dream. This is Pleiades. She's about a year old. She's an orange dream banana, and she is a beautiful, sweet, sweet little girl. Yeah, we have lots of morphs here. Oh, we have lots. GHI, banana anti leopard clown, Mojave fire clown, pastel, uh, orange dream, pinstripe, firefly, inchy, Mojave fire clown. I don't know if I said that already. We got clown, the ghost pied. We got lots of snakes. Lots of snakes to feature. And make sure you keep it dry. They both have humid hides and use them a lot because their enclosure are pretty dry. Yeah, well, and a hognose, hognose is I don't have a hognose, but from what I understand, they like the more dry environment. Um, Maybe that's just a Western hognose because it seems like an Eastern hognose would prefer a more humid environment, I guess. Um, I don't have a lot of information on what they prefer, but I know they're okay to keep in aspen. Some people do. You have to change it out a lot. Aspen will mold. It's a lot. Aspen is probably like a lot of snake keepers don't like aspen bedding because it can mold. It is very dry. It can cause problems with heat pits. Um, it can cause blockage in their. What are you doing? Cause blockage in their what am I trying to say? In their digestive system. Now I've heard of that impact is what it's called, but I've also heard that about coco coir, all the fine substrates like that, even dirt, even reptisoil. Um, but for my ball pythons, like I do a mixture of some organic soil. We'll use reptisoil, but then I also add in peat moss, a natural moisture keeper. So I add peat moss, cypress mulch in the actual substrate, um, and like I said, I'm gonna film when I build when I build Dorothy's enclosure, her bioactive setup. I'm gonna film that, so there'll be a lot of information on that episode about bioactives and how I set mine up. But then I'll take some cypress mulch and peat or some sphagnum moss, and I take my cypress mulch and I make like a forest floor with it. Right, I'll sprinkle it across and just sparse across it, so it's more like a forest floor, more natural form. And then I use sphagnum moss, and I put those around my plant, the bottom of my plants. For one, it helps keep my plants watered and moisturized, and it's like a natural sponge, and they're little like little wicks, so the water aerates right out of it without having your substrate having to be too wet. So sphagnum moss, and then I use those things like peat moss and cypress mulch because they're natural moisture holders, right? All gardeners do this. You know, most gardeners do materials like this to keep their soil moist. So it'd be a good idea for your ball pythons too. So I mix that stuff in there. You see, hoggies live in environments, in my arid environments. Right, yeah, that's what I thought too. Yeah, corn snakes. Now, corn snakes are different. Okay, so my milk snakes, corn snakes are a lot alike. My milk snake actually lives underneath his water bowl in the cocoa choir. That's what we have in his, and uh, and he loves it. You know, he loves it. I just the only thing with aspen for me is I know that it molds easy. That's it. I know it molds easy and it can hold bacteria and stuff like that. Now, if you're changing your substrate out often, which I'm sure you are, I mean you've owned snakes for a little while now. I do believe, and and yeah, that's the only thing about aspen. I'm not saying you're. I hope you don't think I'm saying that you know your substrate's bad for your snake. But I just there's been a lot of negative information about aspen. If it's working, man. Let me see. Let me see. Where are we at here? It will not be on aspen. Yeah, yeah, obviously. Yeah, I know. You've been. I've seen you around enough that so I'm talking to you in a way that I know you know what you're doing, right? But for other people that may be watching, I don't want them to think that, oh, we'll just throw our snakes on some aspen. So it's good for certain breeds of snakes. You can get better, but it works just fine. Chocolate pie, you know. So there are chocolate genes out there, and so I imagine there is. It's probably cinnamon pie, chocolate pie. I imagine there is a pie out there, chocolate pie out there. Piebald is one more if I may have spelt it right. Okay, man. Okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I've got a lot of pies. Well, I've got a few pies. What do I have? I have two pies. I have Lil Man, which I haven't named yet. It's been calling him Lil Man. He's a ghost pied, and then I have my banana pie as well, and yeah, that's Herschel. He's a beautiful, beautiful boy. I love him. They were raised on Aspen, so I didn't change it. I got them at age 3 and 5. Yeah, like I said, it's working. You're gonna change it enough. It's just for some new snake owners, they don't know that they need to change that often. A lot of people when they get snakes just kind of, well, not a lot of people. I don't want to say that, but some people when they get snakes, they just, oh, I'm on a snake all of a sudden, and then they see that it's on Aspen in the pet store, which they'll have ball pythons on Aspen in the pet store and boas on Aspen in pet stores, and they think that that's okay. And it's really not for a more human loving snake. For ball pythons, they want to be between 65 and I keep mine between 65 and 80% humidity, depending on if they're shedding or not. But that so aspen's not going to be good for a snake like this. But like your hog noses, milk snakes, corn snakes, they're fine on aspen. I like cocoa for my milk snake better, but to each their own. Like I said, Candy, you're probably changing that substrate out exactly like you're supposed to. Your snakes are healthy, so no judgment on the aspen. I thought about keeping venomous snakes, but it requires a whole bunch of stuff. And my buddy over at Hawk Stricter, David, he's got there you go. He's got a beautiful, I think he's got a gaboon viper, beautiful snake, and maybe it's a rattler. Maybe it's a western rattler. I don't know. I know he keeps venomous snakes, and I've watched the show a few times, and that's interesting. You know, a lot of people like that stuff, and that's cool. You know, but I like ball pythons. I like pythons, blood pythons. I like Burmese, boas. You know, those are my. I love all snakes, but I'm not really into keeping venomous snakes. Named after the same look and big mammals like horses. Yep. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Yeah, Sonia, I think it's a rattlesnake. I think I misspoke when I said gaboon viper because that's probably I would own a gaboon viper for sure. If I ever started keeping venomous snakes, that'd probably be the first one. Is a gaboon viper. I love the look of their fat little faces. Okay, my experience with non-venomous. Yeah, so tell us a little bit about your experience. Oh, you do local removal. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I just I was just talking earlier on this live stream. I was at my local pet store and somebody called my local exotic pet store and somebody called. They found it was a bull snake, and the guy didn't know what to do with it. So I was trying to get over there to get it because I know a place we can go release him and keep him safe. But he never called back. So do it. What, get a gaboon viper? I'm not ready yet. I'm responsible. I'm a responsible enough snake owner to know that I can't. I'm not ready. Or maybe you're talking to Alistair here, North Carolina. Nice. And so, what kind of species are you removing a lot down there? That's what I'd like to know. Is how many different species are you dealing with on a regular basis? You know, who's calling all the time? We got plenty to do over there. Yeah. So, where do you have a page? Where can we find you at? I'll come over and check you out. I know you're taking pictures of these snakes, timber rattlers, old ladies mostly. Yeah, yeah, I get that. Man, that would be a cool job though, man. I'm a little jealous. I'm a little jealous. I'm a contractor, so I only find snakes when I lift up OSB boards that have been laying in yards for a long time. Unless I go out herping, you know, looking for snakes. So that would be a really cool job. Maybe I should start doing that. Right? It's removing snakes so that way they're not being harmed. I know a good place to put them. So I don't know. I don't know if that does that require a special kind of licensing, but maybe one day you should. You should be taking pictures of all the snakes that you capture or remove, and even video the funny moments when people are freaking out about non-venomous snakes. I would watch. I would watch. Rough earth snakes to racers, Coach whips to western diamondbacks and corals. Did my first copperhead this week. Nice. There's license. I'll just do it. Right. Yeah. You like snakes? Can you come get it? Yep. Yes, I can. Yeah, I just don't know what that like to be an official snake remover. What is that? What does that entail? Because I will come get your snakes. I will come get the snakes out of your yard, your dog houses, your refrigerators. Not your refrigerators. Hopefully they don't get in there. I get calls from everything. Herpetology is my passion. Yes. Needs a hunting license, but most relocate don't. Okay. Right. So if you're just a relocator, you're able to just kind of go in, get the snake, remove it, and then release it into a more safe environment for the snake. That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Never kill them. I'm liking you more and more. I'm liking you more and more. Because that's what a lot of people, their first reaction, man, is just, oh, it's a threat and kill it. And most of the time, I mean, most of the time you're not running across venomous snakes. Most of the time. I guess I'm just speaking for my demographic though, because we only have the eastern rattlesnake here. That's it. and they're not very plentiful as people have been hunting and killing them uh, because of ignorance, basically. But we have some good conservation programs going on, so hopefully we'll be able to bring that back. I'm in a free snake. Okay, Candy, send me info on this, because yep, I want to get signed up. I want to get signed up, especially after that incident with that bull snake the other day. I don't know what happened to it, but I was appalled to find out that she had thrown a bottle at it because she thought it was a rattlesnake. And it's just the ignorance. It's not that they're bad people. They've been told lots of horrific things about snakes. You're scared they don't know how to tell if they're venomous or not, what kind of snakes they're dealing with. It's just ignorance, and that leads to a lot of abuse and harm and death for these guys. So we want to try to alleviate that as much as possible. Some horrific things to snakes. Yes, that part. And that's what we want to avoid, right? I mean, a snake is no different than a bird in the environment. It's no different than any other creature. Squirrels. They're no different. They're important to the ecosystem. They're just as important to the ecosystem and to your own natural survival as well. It's just so sad to hear. These guys don't even have any arms, but you're so scared. It's just so sad to hear of the things that go on in the world because people don't know about what they're dealing with. And that's fine. I get it. Things happen. We can't save the world, but, we can try. It never hurts to try, right? Funny thing is, supposedly we have diamondbacks here, but I've never seen one the entire time I've been doing it. No, just the timbers, no diamondbacks. Yeah, I would suspect you to have diamondbacks there too, as well. There she is. Hey, Azara, we were talking about you already. And I called you by your real name, and then I decided I'm just going to call you Azara online all the time. I'm likely the most cryptic. Yeah. Yeah, those Diamondbacks, I don't know. I imagine they're really hard to see. Like, we just have the Eastern Rattler here, and they're freaking beautiful. They're just a pretty, pretty snake. Even more rare. Yeah. And you're right. So Alistair says they do have Diamondbacks, but I fear they're getting even more rare. And that's due to exactly what we were talking about, though, is, the ignorance to the species and how they help with biodiversity, how they help the environment, just being there. And they're actually harmless. If you just leave them alone, they're not going to come hunt you down. Snakes don't do that. Even anacondas, they don't come hunt you down. Call me anything but rude, my friend. Nah, never rude. Never rude. You kidding me? Um. Okay. So yeah, that's what I was saying is the same thing is happening here with our eastern rattlesnakes. Is like the bull snake. As soon as somebody sees a snake, they feel like they have to destroy it, and we got to get rid of that. We got to get rid of that because it's going to harm the environment eventually. People are gonna, and if all the snakes are gone, and then it's gonna be, mice and rats and chipmunks and squirrels and all the things that snakes take care of for us, that so they don't overpopulate our environment. You're taking that away. You're taking that away when you kill a snake. So don't kill them. Call a relocator. Leave them alone. Give them somewhere else to be. Let's see, ignorance reduced environment. Fragmented, very sad, especially in Florida. Okay, so Melody Valentine said hi. Ignorance, reduced environment, fragmented range. Very sad, especially in Florida. Yeah, and that's with a lot of species that we're losing numbers on. All those characteristics are in play. I think snakes probably have maybe I'm overstating because I'm a snake lover, but there's a special type of ignorance that is surrounded snakes. Because not all snakes are the same. Not all snakes are venomous. Most snakes don't want anything to do with you. You're not a rat. You're not their prey item. They're just trying to get away from you. And if you just get away from them, they'll leave you alone. You know, they're solitary creatures for the most part. Some snakes like to hang out with other snakes, but I've never seen a snake that likes to go chase after humans. So, so yeah, the ignorance I think is a big factor in snake numbers in each environment. I mean, let's see. As much or more. Yeah, okay. Let me catch up on the comments here. I would say I agree with you, but it's a hard thing because even if you leave them alone, accidents happen. Accidents do happen. Accidents do happen. My guess would be right. And those, I mean, because you might accidentally step on one. Does that mean, I know you're not saying that, right? But I just want to point out that just because you might accidentally step on one and a death might come because of a rattlesnake bite, um, doesn't mean we should kill them. People get in car accidents and we keep driving cars. So, I mean, things happen. Things happen in life. Whether they come from an inanimate object or an animal, I mean, things happen. And we can't generalize just because of an accident. We can't say, oh, cars are no good anymore. Or because of a snake bite, we need to kill all these snakes. Or somebody gets stung by a bee, we need to destroy all bees. I'm allergic to bees, and I don't want to destroy bees, So, and a sting from a bee could be deadly for me. But I don't want to kill them for that reason, So, I mean, accidents do happen. Yeah. Well, yeah, and what I'm talking about is, people harming snakes because they don't have the education about them. They only know what they've been told in movies or, in some scenario online. That's probably not good information. So, and then they end up harming the snake, killing the snake, or, you know, that's how we end up so low in numbers. Fragmented environments like Candy had mentioned, that obviously plays a huge factor too. So, but that's why conservation and education is so important when it comes to these animals, because there's so much misconception about the different breeds of snakes and what snakes are actually trying to do. Yes, there are, and that Candy says there are so many things that cause injury or death more than a snake, and that's exactly what I'm saying. Yep, that's exactly what I'm saying. Why don't you sit here for a minute, okay? Pet tarantula. Right. Yeah, and it should be the same thing. Okay? So Alistair's saying I have arachnophobia, but I don't kill spiders. Exactly. It should be the same thing. You know that you're allergic. You have to be aware of that. Same thing with me. I'm allergic to bees. I have to be aware of when they're around, where I'm at. And I might come across a nest one day and they take me out. Who knows? But I'm not going to go around trying to kill them. I'm just one animal in the environment. I think, yeah, solely just mean the fear. Yeah. That's awesome. You're taking steps to dismantle the fear of spiders. That's pretty dope. That's pretty dope, guys. We do need those bees. Yep, we do need those bees. And I don't spray them. I don't do anything like that. You live over there. I know where you live. I'll stay out of your neighborhood. That's our agreement. The mosquitoes should die, though, right? Maybe. I gotta quit smoking cigarettes. Look at that. I gotta quit smoking cigarettes. Yes, there are some that don't bite. You know what? Speaking about Florida, oh, what are those little bugs called down there? Look at her. Look at her. She said, I'll give up. I'm gonna crawl on for a while. I'm tired. No-see-ums. That's what they're called. No-see-ums. You ever been to Florida? You know what a no-see-um is. These things bite you. You don't see them. And they hurt way worse than a mosquito bite. So, the males, right? So, the biggest thing with mosquitoes, since we're talking about conservation here, is the disease that they're annoying, right? But the diseases they carry, that's the biggest thing. And I know they've been working with CRISPR, which is awesome, to alleviate like the malaria and stuff like that they carry. So I think it makes them where they don't carry them. Can't carry the disease or can't transmit it, one of the two. But they're working on that, but it's the same thing. Even with annoying things like mosquitoes, I know you're probably just joking, but like we don't want to get rid of this biodiversity because each thing has a special role, just like the snake. Nothing is, the way the environment evolves the way it does, because if it did any other way, it wouldn't be. You know what I mean? So like if things would have happened differently throughout these last 14 billion years, then it just wouldn't be. Things wouldn't be the way they are. And so having that biodiversity is a part of evolution making its way, and we need that. We need that. Evolution is what drives everything, right? The selfish gene, it drives everything. So even though some things may be uncomfortable, we still have to have them. I got alpha gal from mosquito. I'm not sure what alpha gal is. Is that like, what does it make you where like you can't eat ribeyes? It's like an anti-ribeye disease. Bats too. If you're having a problem, that's it, man. Okay, so there's a good point. If you're having a problem with, mosquitoes in your yard, try to find a environmentally friendly way to deal with them. Put a bat house. Put a couple bat houses up on the ends of your house, on the gable ends. You'll attract more bats, and they eat, I don't know, something like 100,000 mosquitoes a night or something like that. Like crazy amount of mosquitoes they eat every night. So having those around is going to alleviate the mosquito problem you have too, without using any poisons or anything in your yard. Yeah, so I would not want to live if I got alpha gal. What is that? What is that? I don't know what that is. I'm unfamiliar with. I don't know what alpha gal is. I imagine it's some disease that you get from mosquitoes, though. Yeah, bats are totally cool. Like I said, if same thing with snakes, man. If you're having problems, find a bio-friendly way, environmentally friendly way to alleviate that problem. Call a no-kill. What are you doing? I can't back you up. Okay. Call a no-kill service to have them removed. Um, because they need to be there. Whether we like it or not, they need to be there. They're a part of the environment. So. Okay, alpha gal comes from a bite from a Lone Star tick. So it's alpha gal. So up here we have Lyme disease from ticks. I don't know if that's kind of the same. Hey, Alistair, thanks for joining us this week, man. We're back every Sunday at 9 a.m. So subscribe. That way you can be a part of our discussions, man. That's really neat having you here, having somebody who catches snakes every week. That's pretty cool. Thanks, Azara. It's a tick. Yeah, it's a tick. Okay. And Azara, I've got to ask, how is Handsome Dan? How is Lieutenant Dan this morning? How's he doing? Well, that was cool. I hope he joins us next week. I like people. Let's see, mosquitoes have lots of bad diseases too. Yeah, yeah, and that's what I was talking about. Mosquitoes having lots of bad diseases, but they're trying different things with their DNA to change that. They got the CRISPR program working. He's on my lap right now. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, it's all about sitting around in the morning with my snakes, over coffee. That's why I started doing this live stream because I found myself sitting at my kitchen table in the mornings, drinking coffee, looking at my snakes, thinking about my snakes, and I thought, what a fun time that would be, you know. So it's Father's Day though, guys, and we've been going for an hour and a half right now, and I'm usually on an hour on my live streams on Sunday, and I appreciate everybody joining us this week. It's pretty cool, right? Right? It's pretty neat. And please, wants to say thank you, or do you know? You just want to get off screen? You just want to go back? Okay. Well, thanks for joining us this week, guys. I really love seeing you guys every week. I really love hearing from you. And thanks, Azara. Thank you so much. And join us next week. I'm here every Sunday. Right around 9 o'clock. I'd love to say I'm here at 9 every Sunday, but it's usually like either 5 minutes before, 5 minutes after, or right at 9. But I'm here. I'm here. I'll be here every Sunday drinking coffee with snakes. So until next time, stay wild, keep your feet on the ground. Take care, guys. I figure out how to turn this thing off.